Here we go. So the market has crashed, and it's crashed hard. To start off with, I posted a video 2 days ago. I told you to sell all your players. It's kind of ironic that that was one of my worst performing videos ever, but probably one of my more important videos I ever posted. I sold my squad a few days ago, and I'm glad that I did. I realised I could buy that same squad back today for about 100k MT cheaper. So now the market has crashed. You're going to be one of 5 people. There's basically 5 different approaches you could have used or still can use, or a combination of all of them. I'm going to walk you through all 5 of them. Let's start with number 1. So the first person you could be right now is the guy that sold all his players a few days ago. Now, I knew a market crash was coming. That's why I actually posted that video, because 2K will crash the market, and they do it to kind of eliminate MT from the community, right? It's basically designed to get you to open packs. So periodically, they'll crash the market. It's a very intentional thing that they do. Last year, it was very hard to predict. This year, it's not hard to predict because of seasons. Because seasons exist, you could almost predict a week period every 6 months that you know they're going to crash the market. So I knew they were going to crash the market in Season 2. What I didn't know is they would do it before Season 2 started. These super packs is not what I expected. And I'm really glad, because I sold my players and posted that video within, I think, about 12 hours. Those packs got released and the market completely crashed. And timing was very fortunate in the end. So I hope you guys did do that. I hope you did sell your players. I mean, there's some arguments out there. If you held on to them, you know, they might recover in value. It doesn't matter. If you sold them, you can buy them back for 100k cheaper right now if you had a good squad. So that's the first strategy. The second strategy is selling your players now. So the market's crashed and maybe you missed the boat, maybe you didn't hear. There was a lot of videos, not just mine, telling you to sell your players. And maybe you just didn't do that, and you're now stuck with those players, and you're thinking maybe you fire sell them before their price drops any further. I don't think you should do that right now, because there's actually some confusion around this, I think. Generally, people are not seeing this for what it is, and what I mean by that is I don't think the price is going to crash much more than it has. If you look at this Darren Williams on the screen right now, there's one there for 57k. So I sold him for a lot more than that a couple of days ago. But I don't think his price is going to go down much more than that, to be honest. The assumption is, there's going to be amazing players coming out in Season 2. That's all true, yeah, for sure. But they're not all going to come out in the first week. Darren Williams, second best point guard in the game, right? So Steph Curry's the first. So Darren Williams, to me, is the best buyable point guard in the game. I know some people prefer Stockton. I definitely prefer Darren Williams. I use them both. Either way, if they release an amazing point guard in the first week of the new season, I don't think that's going to make Darren Williams' price crash, because he's still going to be the second best buyable point guard. So players like him have a really good chance of recovery. I want to talk about that Mutombo as well. I think he's probably the best buyable center. And, if you've got him now, I don't know if it's worth just selling him sort of on the cheap. Because you're going to get less for him than you would 2 days ago. And again, they'll have to release 2, maybe even 3 really good centers for his price to crash much more than it has already. I can't see that happening for a couple of weeks. So you might as well hold on to him. If you're precious about 500 MT, maybe sell him. Maybe his price could go down a little bit, but I don't think it's going to crash. I don't think Dikembe's going to go down to like 20k overnight. So if he's still got value for you, just keep using him. The third thing you could do right now is buy cheap cards to complete challenges. So I know a few people that are doing this. If you've been struggling with things like domination, maybe even if you want to make a late run on unlimited, this is a good time to buy those players, to be honest. They might come down a little bit more. There is obviously a chance they might go up a little bit more. But if you really just want to build a squad, if you've got sort of 100, 150k MT and you just want to get this done, right now you can buy a squad very comfortably for 150k MT that will get you to blitz through all-time domination. So if that's where you are in the game, now's probably a good time to buy players. There is a chance, obviously, like I said, in 2-3 weeks from now that, the prices will drop even more once they do release a few more point guards or a few more centers. But you want to get domination done before then. I don't think anyone wants to finish this in 3 weeks because even the players in domination are going to be outdated by then. So if you do want to get domination finished, I would take advantage of the auction house crash and go pick up those players for sure. Interestingly, pink diamonds have crashed as well. So if you fancy any of these, go for it. The fourth thing you can do is flip cards. You know, I'm no money spent. You can see we've got 400,000 MT. A lot of that has come from flipping cards. Now's a good time to do it, if we're honest. I will say it's about 5:30 in the UK right now, and I think we're roughly 8 hours ahead of the States in time zone. In about 5-6 hours, when America starts hitting these servers, that's when you'll see these prices go to their absolute lowest. So a strategy that I have been using is in the UK, I buy in the evening, like late at night, 11, 12 o'clock, when there's maximum people online, because it drives the prices way, way down because the marketplace is just way more competitive. If I then sell them in the morning UK time, which is the middle of the night in America, their price ticks up by sometimes 10 to 15k. But now is obviously a good time to flip cards, mainly because there's just so many of them. I know people are putting these packs like crazy, and if you saw my video yesterday, you'll see I pulled a few pointless cards out of it. So that is an option, and I wouldn't say not to do it. I think now's a really good time to do it. So the other thing you can do is buy and hold cards. So this is something I've seen people talk about. Buy and hold cards. So let's say you pick up, I don't know, let's say Darren Williams or Allen Iverson. That there is a very good chance that in a day or two, once the super packs expire, that the prices of these cards could go up quite dramatically. I think that is true, and it will happen on a few cards. The problem with that strategy is I can't tell you which cards, because it's really going to come down to whoever they release in the first and maybe second week of Season 2. So let's take a random example. I mean, this Larry Bird's really cheap now. I think you can get him for about 50k. It's a great card, by the way. It is a really good card, and he's been 100k, pretty much since he came out. So he's a very valuable pickup. But you can see here, if you pick up a small forward like Larry Bird, let's say Paul George, Kevin Durant, you're picking these players up because you're hoping their value will peak. If they then go out, they've just released LeBron as well, for example. If they go out and then just release just an over-the-top, small forward, pink diamond, maybe they release two, one in the first packs of the Season 2 and one in the second packs of Season 2, then these prices will crash like dramatically. So I think if you are going to play that strategy, I think it's really, really risky. I just don't see how you can predict who's going to go up and down. I mean, there are certain cards like Ben Wallace that are holding their value, and actually the reason for that is they're just rare. They're just rare cards. So if you are going to do it, maybe look at cards that were sort of released earlier in the game that might have been locked in, and therefore these new packs not creating a flood. There are certain cards in here where there is a flood. I think there's a stupid amount of Hakeems in these packs. I'm just putting it out there. Look at his price now, 40k. Like I said, 36 hours ago, you couldn't get Hakeem for less than 100k. So that's a heavy crash. That's a heavy, heavy crash. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to invest in players and hope that their price goes up. That's just something I'm not going to do. Now, the final thing I want to do is maybe give you a bit of advice on who you should pick up if you are trying to complete challenges or things like that. The ones that I think are low risk, I can't tell you you're not going to lose MT because you might. But I think there's a lot of cards where you won't lose a huge amount of MT. Like even if it does crash, if the price comes down, I think it's going to come down by like 40k. This Brandon Roy is going for like 60k. Defensively, he's useless. But in domination, he's, useful for sure. He's a very cheap pickup for the card that he is. Same with Manu. I think, Moses Malone is really cheap. Pink diamond, 95 center. These pretty much all the pink diamonds, apart from Dominic Wilkins, I would pick up. I think Dominic is still overpriced. And I think actually the card out of all of these that has the most danger of collapsing. Because if they do release that overpowered small forward, especially if it's like a glitch card like they did last year. We know another glitch card is coming. Let's say they release another glitch Thon Maker, 7'2", small forward. I mean, Dominic's price is just going to plummet. The highest value card in any position is the most likely to drop. That's my theory. If something's like ridiculously overpriced, and I think Dominic is, I think Giannis is, I think LeBron probably is as well. I think those are the most high risk cards because as soon as the better card drops, people are just going to start selling them like crazy to get the upgrade. So I think they're high risk. In terms of diamonds, Devin Williams, like I just said, is a great pickup. This Isaiah Thomas is going for about somewhere between 40 and 50k. I saw some buy now for like 44, 45k yesterday. I ran this card off my bench for most of all-time domination, and he's an absolute beast. Most of us, I think, use that Gus Williams. Isaiah Thomas is that Gus Williams on steroids. So he's a really good pickup for the price. Hakeem is a no-brainer, I think. You know, again, just such a little risk. What can he go down to at worst in the next month? 25, 30k? You're getting him for around 40 now. I think that's an absolute no-brainer. That Larry Bird as well, like I said, he's going for around 40k. Alonzo Mourning, you know, is going for peanuts. You know, again, probably 35. You could grab him for quite comfortably. There's quite a few players. I think anything that's sitting around 100k still, like your Stocktons and things like that, stay away from them. I think they're really, really high risk right now. Because, like I said, it's just going to take 1 or 2 point guards to kick in and Stockton's price will collapse. But when Devin Williams is already cheap, his price just won't collapse that much. So let's say they release a high, you know, just a completely OP point guard next week. Stockton's price will probably drop from about 100 to 60 or 70. Devin Williams might drop from 60 to 50. It's just not as much of a loss. And it's a better card, like I said. I probably wouldn't pick up this Steve Nash. I think he's useless, to be honest. I don't think he's a good card. Same with Jason Kidd. Stay away from him. Again, Kevin Durant, he's just, you know, ready for a price crash, I think. Lamar Odom the same. You know, Webber the same. They're the cards I would stay away from. LeBron for sure stay away from. I think the card's overrated anyway. Magic Johnson stay away from. He doesn't even have clamps. If you add them, you've got a good player there, but probably not worth it. I think Paul George might be a good pickup. He's probably that middle ground, that middle benchmark. I ran Paul George for a while and I sold him when he was quite high. I think I sold him for 89, something like that. But he was a good card, definitely a good card. I'm not sure how cheap he is, but if you can grab him for about 60, I would say that's, again, a pretty solid investment. You're not going to lose a huge amount of MT. But to kind of sign out, I am releasing videos regularly and I'm trying to predict the market as best I can. And there's nothing I'm going to say that is, you know, gospel, that's facts. But this time we did get it right. And I think this time it was really, really predictable that the market was going to crash. I didn't know it would be super packs. And I didn't know it would happen before season 1 ended. And to be honest, I just did it in time, you know, otherwise a day later and I would have lost. You know, that MT total you see in the corner would have been probably under 300k if I hadn't sold when I did. And that shows you how the difference it makes. So, you know, keep an eye on videos that are, you know, showing you how to snipe, how to flip cards, you know, which packs to pull, even though we don't like packs and all of that stuff. That's great. And, you know, it's going to help you generate, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50k MT at times. But really pay attention. It's not just me, it's other people as well. You know, Ty Debo called this as well. He called it for a different reason, but he called it. He said the market was going to crash. Those videos that you watch are the ones that are going to save you hundreds of thousands of MT. I think they're more valuable than any video I've released in terms of flipping cards or generating MT. So those are your choices. I hope that you sold your cards before the market crashed, but you've got a lot of choices now what you do next. Hope you make the right decision. Until next time, thanks for watching.